So who am I? I'm from South Florida. So I grew up in Jupiter, Florida. It's a small little town, beautiful off the coast of Southeast Florida. And I live in Pittsburgh now with my wife and our one son. I've been married over 15 years. During that time, I've either worked in sales, IT, or education. I've mostly worked in project management. I've been a business systems analyst. I've worked in healthcare, oil and gas, manufacturing. I'm a Florida Gator, so I went to the University of Florida, so go Gators. I got my undergrad there. I also have two master's degrees. One is in practical theology, and it's from Regent University, and the other is an MBA, which I got from Slippery Rock University. I like to play chess. I like to travel, play chess, hence the little, where is it? Right there, the horse, in case you're curious. I love to travel. I like to watch and play sports, specifically the Miami Heat and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Overall, I would say my Christian faith is the most important thing to me more than anything else. God's just been real in my life. He's shown up. What he said in his word has come true for me, and that's a whole separate thing, but I'll talk to anybody if they're curious about that. So I love Jesus. So why am I doing this now? Why now? Why an eCourse right now? Because people have asked me over the years to do something like this, or, at least the last couple of years, not maybe 10 years ago. And it's not just that I didn't get around to it until now. I had to think about this question because, it's a fair question. It's a good question. I kind of feel a little guilty. But when I think back to when I first learned about Bitcoin, my focus was on how I can flip it and make a lot of money and help my family, pay off things, etc. My focus wasn't on how can I help others, to be perfectly honest. I was thinking, how can I help me, myself, my family? And, I won't give away what happened in my story. You'll have to get the eCourse to find out. But I did do pretty well with Bitcoin, And so my focus now, I kind of has shifted from, how can I flip this and make a ton of money with it, to how can I help the world? Because I truly believe Bitcoin is changing the world, and it's going to continue to change the world. Okay, why an eCourse though, Peter? What's the point of an eCourse? And that's a good question too. Frankly, an eCourse to me, because obviously I've been in school a long time, an eCourse is the fastest way to answer everybody's questions that I've heard all at one time in one place. If they sat down in front of me and I could tell them, everything. And I believe just Bitcoin needs to be broken down into smaller chunks, and there's still a pretty big gap between first hearing about Bitcoin and being able to successfully tell your friends and spouse and coworkers about it without putting them to sleep, or without you falling asleep or you getting tired talking about it. And those of us who, might understand Bitcoin, we think we're doing a good job when people ask us about it. But I've learned over the years, as I've watched people's reactions to the answers that I give them, that I don't necessarily answer the questions that they ask. They might ask me about Bitcoin, and I might start telling them. They're like, what is Bitcoin? And I might start telling them a little bit. But then I might also talk about how it's used, how it benefits the world, why it matters, how it can, fail. And that's not exactly what they're asking. We see these kind of glazed looks on a person's face when we toss words around like decentralized, crypto, cryptography, mining, public and private keys, Bitcoin mining reward. But do we need to use all those words to teach Bitcoin? I don't think so. Or if we do, we need to break them down one at a time. And that's what I do in the course. So who is this eCourse for? Who should take this? If you fall into any of these categories, then you'll probably find this eCourse worthwhile. Beginners. This course assumes you know nothing about Bitcoin or altcoins or cryptocurrencies or blockchain, and only have a basic understanding of computers and the internet. So this is great for you. Investors. So these are those who considered investing in Bitcoin, or maybe already have, but they don't understand Bitcoin, the asset, the technology enough to either keep going or even to invest at all whatsoever. This is good for you as well. Learners, so people who want to learn about Bitcoin faster than it would take to learn on your own, or maybe you're just not learning as fast as you'd like. Enthusiasts, so these are what I'd call those with a general interest in not just Bitcoin, but maybe other cryptocurrencies, maybe other altcoins, same name, or the financial technology sector, or all of the above. I'd call you an enthusiast. This is good for you as well. Those with an interest specifically in fintech or are already in the fintech financial technology sector or industry, this would be really helpful for you too. For those that want to better be able to teach their friends, their family, their students, or their peers about Bitcoin, this would be helpful for you. I'd call you a teacher. Economic or economics focused. So those concerned about a failing US dollar or other fiat currency, or concerned about the global economy and want to use Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation, or maybe you're concerned about the stock market bursting, or maybe your economy collapsing, whether it's a first or third world country. This would definitely be helpful for you because I go over economics and from a high level, okay, not too deep, and this you'd really find beneficial. Banking. So those mistrusting of either central banking or commercial banking and want to know if Bitcoin is a legitimate or viable savings/banking option. This would be really helpful for you because we do go over the banking part component of Bitcoin. In general, so if you're a generally curious person, or maybe you want to impress your friends at the next Thanksgiving, or your classmates or your peers or your students, and you just want to know more about anything related to Bitcoin, altcoins, fintech, this would be good for you, just a general interest. And then lastly, Bitcoiners. So kind of people like myself who have spent time in the industry, whether a long time or a short time, and you understand Bitcoin well enough, but you want to know more. You want to kind of hone your skills. I know this was something that I did years ago. I tried to find as much as I possibly could to learn as much as I could as well to clarify my understanding and hone my skills. This would be helpful for you too, because you're going to hear things that you've probably never heard before, and if not in a particular way that you've never heard them before. Is there anyone who shouldn't take this e-course? No, everybody should get it. No, in all seriousness, if there were one group I had to pick out and say you probably wouldn't find a lot here or take too much of a benefit from this, I would call you the crypto expert. So, kind of like the Andreases. If you really want to get a deep dive, you go to him. I'm not Andreas, and so Andreas Antonopoulos, someone I look up to, but he's very technical and he goes into a deep dive about a lot of these things. So if that's what you're looking for, then this probably isn't the best for you. It's more of a higher level, but everyone else, it's great for you. Do I need to buy your e-course to understand Bitcoin? No, I didn't buy anyone's course and I understand Bitcoin, but the understanding came with a price. It cost me years of digging, thinking, finding quality teaching, and some people I know have done that and they've taken time and they still don't get Bitcoin. If you are interested in investing in Bitcoin, time isn't really on your side. I know I said not to rush, and I still stand by that, but if you're specifically interested in investing, it probably, Bitcoin as an investment, only has a couple of these booms and then these bust cycles before it hits like an equilibrium, and the price just mellows out, and it hits, if the market finds the right price to place this at. Now, I don't know when that is or how long that'll be, but if you're concerned about that or you have any interest in that, this could knock off days, months, years of learning on your own. What's going to be covered in the e-course? So this is a really important and a fun question. I have 7 sections as of now with different subheadings in some of them. My Bitcoin story goes through 2011, right when I first heard about it, all the way up to the present, which right now is 2021. And I think you'll find it fun. I think you'll enjoy it. It's entertaining. But I also think, and I hope most of all, that you find it instructive, because there's things that you're going to run up against that I did, and I can share with you my insights in this area. And if you already have, this will help you as well. 2011 to 2012. Do you want to split a Bitcoin miner with me? 2013 to 2014. Okay, I'm ready to buy, and you're saying, I can't. 2014 to 2016, hard years. 2017 to 2018, millionaire. 2018 to 2021, helping people with Bitcoin. Making Bitcoin easy is the next section, and it's almost entirely instructive and most like a traditional course. I address the most common questions that people have, or I should say most common related to what is Bitcoin, because I have a separate section called most common questions that I've heard over the years. But this is the most traditional, like if you were sitting in front of an actual instructor. I go through and break down every part. This is where I break it down into the different building blocks of what is Bitcoin, how it's made up. I also, and here, let me go through the headings. What is Bitcoin? Who created it and why? How is Bitcoin used today? Why does Bitcoin matter? What are Bitcoin's biggest strengths? What are Bitcoin's biggest weaknesses, challenges, and how can it fail? Because it can fail. Investing in Bitcoin is the next section, and this specifically covers what it's like investing in Bitcoin. So I share my past, my history, my experience with just from the focus, that perspective of investing in Bitcoin. And this section specifically, or I should say, this section assumes you already have a decent or a solid grasp on Bitcoin, what it is and why it matters, because here I go over what I did that worked and how I'm doing things today as it relates to just investing in Bitcoin. Not your keys, not your coins. This is the shortest section, but arguably the most important section, because if you don't have physical digital possession of your Bitcoin private key, then you do not own your Bitcoin. Not your keys, not your coins. Most common questions. So this covers the most common questions people have asked me over the years, and that includes the biggest one. It's how high is Bitcoin going to go? What's the future? What's the future price? What are the projections? And I give my predictions in that as well. How can I get some? Why can't I just mine Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin legal, regulated, taxable? Is there another altcoin that I can get, like you got with Bitcoin? My biggest failures. So this is where I talk about my biggest mistakes, and I did not enjoy going through this or talking about it, but it's where I lost the most money because of stupid mistakes. Please learn from me, pay attention in this, because even if this doesn't apply to you, it might later on, or maybe one of your friends or family members, this could really benefit them. Because if it can save you in any way, time, money, energy, then that would make me really happy, because I can't do anything now to go back and make changes, but hopefully you can, looking forward to the future. Havelock investments, buying high, for new, and Dignity Coin. Best practices. So best practices includes the best practices, industry best practices for owning, using, storing, accessing your Bitcoin. And I broke it up into different categories. I start with something called custody. And within custody, I talk about storing, accessing, and auditing Bitcoin. And I go through each one of those when I talk about it. The next best practice I talk about is do not talk about Bitcoin, splits and airdrops, seek out bad news, don't use Bitcoin to buy and sell goods, and continue learning. So that's my introduction to Making Bitcoin Easy, the e-course. I hope this is something that you find interesting, that you are maybe considering getting. I don't think you'll regret it. I've put about 10 years of work into this, about a year of my last life, full-time almost into this. And so this is all the stuff that I've talked to people about it over the years, my friends and family who bought and sold Bitcoin and made a lot of money with Bitcoin. I'm putting it all out there, and I'm putting it in this e-course. And so hopefully I put it in a way that it will help you. I'm a professional teacher. I'm a paid teacher, so I've done this, and I love doing this. I'm so passionate about it, and I'm excited for you, because I just really wish there would have been something like this out there for me back then. So enjoy. I think you're really going to love this. So give it a shot.